Hello everyone, welcome to Kalada Academy, and in this particular video we'll be discussing on a case study of Bundilla Pest Control. So this is a pest control company, as it is evident out here, based out in California. So you'll be able to understand on that what are the different additional aspects which are there. We'll be discussing more into the understanding of this particular case in itself, how a specific digital marketing agency, which is Kickpoint, how it actually implemented the different additional strategies in itself to explore the different options from different streams, like SEO aspects, Google Ads aspects in itself, and how it was able to bring in a kind of a differential change in the effect of or the performance of the marketing aspects that was actually controlled by Bundilla in itself. So again, Bundilla Pest Control, family owned business that exterminates or control the pests in Australia in itself. There's a lot of business to be had, but again there was too much fierce competition which is again prevalent out there in itself. The company knew that their online presence could have been improved and was looking for a partner agency which could help them to grow long term as well as build the business, as that kind of a scenario which is there. At this point they hired Kickpoint agency in itself, which is a top-notch agency based out in California. So again, or rather Canada in itself. So this is the kind of an differential agency which actually was implemented on. Bundilla had a limited budget. So again, budget was a kind of a constraint which had to be implemented on or taken to be a consideration onto it. So Kickpoint's original proposal included three different additional stages: whether they should be implementing the strategies now, or what will be the strategies that could be rather postponed, so to a little bit of an extent, and what could be rather taken at a later stage. So these were the three different aspects or stages which actually Kickpoint noticed as well as implemented on, with the recommendation on what was the highest priority and should be done on the right platform. So this was the kind of a scenario which was actually implemented by Kickpoint as a digital marketing agency in itself, and we'll be able to find it out what are the different additional implementation strategies that was actually implemented, right? So this is the first one, the first stage. The first part of Kickpoint's work was Google Ads setup as well as management, keyword research for different Google Ads scenarios, future content as well as SEO work, and reporting the analytics so that they could have track the conversions from the new different additional campaigns which are there. Since Bundilla Pest Control was servicing something like the area of Sunshine Coast, the Google Ads campaigns were targeting very specific locations under their the service area which is there. The agency set up, like Kickpoint actually set up different general pest control searches, or rather they did a good amount of keyword research and found out that there were different additional services which were connecting with ants, bed bugs, cockroaches, as well as different these were the different bugs which were there, and also set up brand campaigns so that they could have protected this brand from encroaching the competitors which are there, right? So again, after a few months of them managing the campaigns, they trained Bu. Now again, who is Bu in itself? Bu was the person who was the general manager of the company, this one as Bundilla Pest Control in itself, which actually hired the digital marketing agency Kickpoint. So he was the actual person who was involved in this particular hiring kind of a thing, and he was actually concerned of how to bring in more businesses for this particular pest control company. So they were managing Google Ads on their own. So again, they the agency in itself trained Bu as well as his employees so that they could manage Google Ads on their own, so that he could have saved on the agency management fee, right? So again, understand on whenever you are investing in, you are hiring a digital marketing agency, obviously a management fee will be there, right? So if the agency is controlling SEO, then you are paying a certain amount of money. If the agency in itself is controlling the PPC advertisements in the form of Google Ads, you have to be paying in an additional management control fee which is available on. So with the starting budget of something close to 1500 US, not US dollars in itself, it's Australian dollars a month, the campaign were able to give his business a good boost. So again, with the development of Google advertisement with a low budget of around 1500 Australian dollars, you can have understand on that it was able to generate a good amount of business boost with new leads, and by saving on the management fees which was there, you was able to invest more into improving the digital presence of the company, right? So Bundilla's investment was actually streamlined on, and Bu was able to diversify the investment from paying these management fees which were there to the agency in the form of Kickpoint, and he was able to prove the additional digital presence that was actually required on. Moving forward, what Kickpoint actually implemented on, with more budget available to invest in the marketing pointer, Kickpoint got to work on the next pieces that were outlined in the proposal, the discussion proposal in itself, a brand voice as well as a content strategy. Just again understand on, until and unless the company's brand voice as well as the content strategy is actually regulated as well as monitored on, a development for digital marketing would be a difficult kind of a scenario which is there. So a brand voice was important to create sooner than later, so it was actually required. Bundilla was getting new logo as well as collaterals. Their communications needed to be strong and consistent to match the new visual identity which was there. Apart from that, having a brand voice meant that more communication tasks could be delegated to the staff, as they would have a document to be guided, right? So again, these were the different activities as well as scenarios which were there hovering around the brand voice kind of a mindset which was provided by Kickpoint. A content strategy, which is the second pointer that was emphasized on, was essential so they could improve on the content of the website as such, right? So their strategy was hovering around audiences, content, writing basics which were there, recommendations for improving current evergreen content, which is again a mandatory kind of a thing that needs to be concentrated on, writing new blogs. Bu, again, as a controller of the company in itself, knew that he needed a new site, right? Obviously it was required on, but the timing wasn't right. So at that point of time, it was not a great time to get into a new website as such. In the meantime, improving the current content could still be beneficial, as it would be carried over to the new site in future. So content development is a kind of a thing that cannot be rather restricted to. You can implement that same content that, as again, just we have discussed on that, you can understand that it was evergreen content which was actually created. So obviously at a later stage also, this kind of a content could have been implemented in future. Later on, Bu asked Kickpoint to manage his Google Ads campaign again, as his team was getting again too busy to manage, and he knew he could have got a better return than his own people working on the Google Ads part which was there. So again, which while Kickpoint was encouraged and supported clients, or has always been encouraging on and supporting clients to take work in-house, right? So that they could have cut down on the management expenses part which was there, so they don't have to rely on the agency and pay fees forever. So that was the kind of a goal set that Kickpoint actually is setting for their clients, right? But it is again understood that sometimes it's just not feasible for small businesses if they do not have any kind of a dedicated marketing person on in their hired in their team as such, right? So that is again a challenge which was faced by the small business enterprises which are there. Again, SEO, we cannot leave around with something like the search engine optimization efforts which are there. A new Squarespace website, this was the CMS tool which was actually launched in Jan 2019. After a year, Kickpoint asked Bu that if he was ready to make this particular leap of the WordPress site. So finally, from Wix they moved on to Squarespace. From Squarespace they moved on and scaled up to a WordPress site which was there. So Squarespace was an improvement from Wix, and fitting into the budget, but WordPress site was this next logical step. Obviously, as you are growing in, a WordPress site is something that will be giving you better effects of SEO optimization, which you can see out here, that a better optimization for SEO, as well as improving the rankings on the SERP, right? So that was something that was important. A lot of SEO work in 2019 was laying the foundational groundwork needed to see the needle move, and a focus on local SEO was with optimizing the GMB aspect. So Google My Business, which was called at that point of time 2019 2020, which again got a new name of Google Business Profile in current scenarios, to ensure that it was filled out with the fullest extent, and cleaning up of the old citations as well as directories which were there was actually taken care of. So again, some of the updates Kickpoint made to the WordPress site included new site navigation options to better organize, as well as differentiate on the different additional service types which are there, along with better promoting termite control as well as prevention options, which were I additionally focused on, in addition to the structured snippet data which are there. So obviously once SEO implementations are getting into action, focus on featured snippets as well as rich snippets in the form of structured data aspects are something that needs to be considered on. So these were the different efforts, different varieties of efforts rather, on the search engine optimization factors that was actually implemented on. Again, we move to the results, that since launching of the WordPress site, there's been a 340% increase. Just see the values, the numbers which are coming in. The organic search compared to the previous year, this is also during the time of COVID, when results were going down generally, this was the kind of a growth that Kickpoint was able to bring in for Bundilla, right? So this was the kind of a thing. 146% increase in the conversions from organic searches compared to the previous year. A 16% increase in conversions from Google Ads traffic compared to the previous year, with budget remaining the same. So that was a huge growth, a 16% keeping that same budget. Overall, traffic is up by 78%, and goal completions are up by 47%. So if you are working on the Google Analytics platform in itself, goal completions as well as these different data are easy to understand on. So obviously this was the kind of a growth scenarios which are there. So Pew is looking to expand his business, obviously, with this kind of a growth aspect in itself, and you are a person who is managing the entire business of Bundilla. Obviously, you are looking to expand business further to these two additional areas of Caboolture as well as Murrayfield area, and has already expanded to North Brisbane. So again, this is the kind of a growth scenarios which boosts the company in itself, that focuses on diversification, growth, scaling up to different additional locational features which are there. People start exploring those different additional opportunities that are coming in. So I hope so you found out this particular case study of Bundilla pest control services as quite insightful, and we'll catch up with you again with our next video. Thank you so much.